Good evening and welcome back. I'm back. Yes, I'm back. The Choir Directors Academy is back. Welcome. I'm so thankful that each of you have been sending me notes, letting me know that you missed. It's good to be missed, but I had to just take a break. You know, sometimes think you get inundated with so many different things, and you just need a break. That's all. But I'm back and I'm glad to be back. Thank you for all your suggestions and all of your comments. Like and share this video if it's blessing you. And those of you who are on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and let share the information with other people. Today is a different topic. Hey, Lady Rochelle, today is a different topic. One of the people, one of the listeners sent it to me and said, can you make this distinction? Like, what's the difference between directing a song versus directing the choir? I actually did a video, I want to say like 3 weeks ago, speaking about that. Hey, Beatrice, speaking about that 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a video about the duties of a choir director, which was phenomenal. Everybody just kind of like, oh my God, they didn't realize that we did as much as we do. So I'm kind of referencing you to go back and watch that one. Hey, Calvin, to watch that one that gives you more detail. This one is going to be very high level. I'm keeping this conversation. I'm using my airport analogy. Hey, Aaron, I'm keeping the conversation 35,000 feet in the air. Okay, I'm not going to come down on the tarmac. That's what that episode was for. And even in the beginning, when I first, back in May, I did a very detailed list of things that you should do as a choir director. But, again, someone sent me a note. I guess maybe, sometimes, let me just back this thing up. Saying that you are a choir director has become so watered down and generic. And I try to tell people that in different reformations, it means different things. But the standard definition of a choir director, which the world interprets, is what I generally talk about, what you need to know as far as that is concerned. But in the church world, people just run up and say, oh, I'm a choir director. They tell me that all the time. Ever since they've been watching the Academy and everything, they tell me, oh, I'm a choir director. Hey, Tim. Tim, just put it in your notes somewhere in next year. You're going to be on the show. Because he's over the Corinthian Temple Radio Choir, the one that Mother Livonia Whitley was over. So, you got to have him on here. That's just a hint. I'm coming your way. But anyway, I have people telling me, oh, I'm a choir director and whatever. And I kind of sit there and look like, okay, I don't judge or anything. I just kind of sit there with an open mind. And then when I was like, is your choir performing? They say yes. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me just sit back. And then when I see the choir, get up and do what they do, and I'm just like, okay, no, technically you're not a choir director. Some people have this interpretation that just because I stand in front of a group of people, that makes me a choir director, and that is not the case. And I guess the person that sent me this question is having some issues. I guess they were in a heated discussion with somebody, and they said, well, would you please do a show that tells the difference between directing a song and directing a choir? So, like I said, this one is going to be kind of like top level. I'm not going to go too deep. And I told them, first of all, directing the choir is exactly what it is. You just telling people what to do with a song. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a real deep concept. Anybody actually can direct a song. All you need to know is the song, and you can tell people which way to go. And a lot of people see that and they gravitate to it and they say, oh, I'm directing. No, you're not. There's a series of information that you should have if you are a director. It's kind of hard, and I don't want to seem harsh, like, oh, I'm almighty. No, I'm not. But it's just you recognize certain traits and things when you see people. One thing I noticed, people that think that they're directors and they basically just directing a song, is you have no real understanding of music theory. As a director, you would need to know that. And I'm just saying basic. I'm not telling you that you need to know the 7 modes of music. You know, the Aeolian, I scared somebody with that the other day. When I said Aeolian, they thought I was talking about an alien. So I just sat there like, okay, we won't discuss that. But I mean, the seven modes, we won't even go there. We're just talking about basic music knowledge, which means you can identify middle C when you see it. You know, if somebody say, walk up there and, you know, give me middle C, you should be able to identify it. I find that most people that think they're directors, you know, you just doing the song, they don't really understand what it is. They just like, oh, I'm just up here, you know, because they see the glorified side. And actually what you're saying is just, that's only like 5 minutes, and that's really nothing. It's really nothing. My little 7-year-old niece, can direct. She's been, honestly, she can direct a song. She's been doing that since she's about 3, because she's been, you know, when she was born, I kept her with me so much. She became like my little mini me. She can get up there and you tell her what song we're doing. She can tell the song and take it whichever way she wants it to go. And everybody's like, oh my God, you know, this little girl's there. I was like, no, she's just directing the song. She's not the choir director, because when they get out of tune, first thing she did was turned around and looked at me like, TT, they wrong. Fix this. You know, if you a choir director from the heart and you've been studying and all of that, you should be able to correct people when they're singing. Some people are afraid to do that. I know some choir directors that are afraid to correct the choir when they're singing. And it's like that is just a major irritation of mine, because I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, you went to rehearsal, and sometimes people have selective amnesia. If it's a song that they really don't care for, when they get up on Sunday morning, they're going to just, sometimes people do that. They just sing stuff. And you sitting there looking at them like, I know I went through this. As a director, a true choir director, you're not going to sit there and let them consistently sing wrong. That doesn't mean that you have to get ugly and out of order in order to do that, but you correct them. You can do it gracefully and comically with the audience and whatever, and let them know, okay, you out of tune, I'm gonna fix this. You don't let them consistently be wrong. And I noticed that with people who are just directing a song, they'll let the choir consistently be wrong. And I'm sitting there going, and they just like directing like they Ricky Dillard, and they just like jumping across the stage. And I'm sitting there going, when you gonna fix this? Dude, sis, the song is out of order. Fix it. As a director, just basic knowledge. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. There are some people who can teach music and it's just a God-given gift. I'm not knocking that, because I'm one of those that was teaching parts and all this stuff and really didn't understand the music theory part of it, but I just knew, hey, Lady Jerlene, I just knew that it needed to sound a certain way. What I heard on that record is what I need to hear, and I was able to identify it just by listening. I learned by ear first. I listened, and then I knew this is what you're supposed to sing, this is what you're supposed to sing, and then I just learned how to pick it out, and then my mother finally figured it out, and then she sent me to music school. But there are people who just have a natural gift. I'm not knocking that. All things are possible. But, you know, even in that, don't be satisfied with just having a natural gift of something. Last week, I posted a video of Dr. Judith McAllister, and she was teaching the international choir. I was sitting in one of the rehearsals. And that's one thing I always encourage directors. I don't care how fabulous you are. It is an amazing thing. Sometimes you can be on the part of giving out so much information that you forget what it's like being on the other side, receiving it. And it's amazing to me when I went to that rehearsal, I'm so used to all just knowing which way to go that particular time I had to follow. And then it really like gave me an awakening as to what the people are getting from me. What it's like trying to retain something that you never heard before. And, you know, sometimes when you're on this side, you're like, it's so simple. It's so simple. And my choir always tell me, every time you say it's simple, it's not simple. It's hard. But for me to be on the other side, and Dr. McAllister, who is very knowledgeable and very gifted, for her to be teaching, for me, it was sometime I had to deer in the headlights, and she just like kind of looked at me because I was just like lost. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been on this side. And a couple times my voice went out, and she just kind of, because I was so close to her, she kind of like looked at me like, what are you doing? So I mean, we want, you have to, at a certain point in time, you have to understand what the basics of music is. I really try to stress that to people, like, go take time and go to a CSO. Go and see somebody else that's in totally different from you, on a totally different level from you. And you'd be surprised how much you learn, how much your spirit, how much it will revive you. Because sometimes when you're constantly giving out, you get drained, you get burnt out. And a lot of people don't understand that. But I'm back to my, direct people who are just think they're directors. I just want to remind you, you should have a basic knowledge of the diatonic scale and the chromatic scale. Okay, diatonic is those 7 notes that are within the octave. Octave is 8 notes, and you got 7 notes is in between there. It's about five whole notes and 2 half notes up in there, if you're looking at it from the C scale. And the chromatic is all 12, the black keys and the white keys. You should be able to identify that. I mean, we won't get into the enharmonics, like if you're talking about E flat and D sharp, that's enharmonic. We're not going to talk about all of that, but we're just saying basic keys you should be able to identify, because you're going to need that knowledge in order to be able to translate what you're hearing to the people that's receiving it. And a lot of people think that it's not that important, but I mean, personally, I think you should be somewhere in the musician department. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't want to rely totally on the musicians, because what happens if they don't show up to rehearsal? Then we all just going to sit there and look and be lost. I'm not saying that you have to get up there and play, but you should be able to identify it on the keyboard. You should be able to know when you hear a song, you should be able to walk up. If you don't have perfect pitch, where is when somebody say A flat, you automatically know what they hear what that sounds like. Then you should be able to walk up the key, start with middle C and walk it up until you get there and you match the tone with what you hear. Okay, that's all part of. That's just I'm really keeping it way up in the air. And I tell them, something when they come to me and they say, "Oh, I'm a director," and I kind of remind them, "Do you understand what the root triads are? Just C, E, G, basic, C major, root. Do you understand what the diminished is when you go C, D, F? Do you know what an augmented is when you raise the 6? All of these different things. Hey, Pastor Mike, he is a master musician. Oh my God. But I'm serious. You need to understand this. And I'm really trying not to make it seem like you got to be so high level, but it's just some basic things you need to know. Also, you need to know basic single note sight reading. I do understand looking at C7s and the C minor chords and all of that, and the 9s and the 13s. That gets confusing when you're looking at it, when you see it. But once you get used to seeing it, it's just like ABCs. With the little kids, it kind of looks confusion. They make up stuff as they're going along. But then when you get to the point, it's true. When you get to the point where you're able to identify it, it makes sense. Same thing on the basic scale. You should know on your treble scale, you should know the basics. FACE and what is it? Good birds do always fly. Something like that. You should know that. And then on your you should just know basic stuff. So then when somebody walks up to you with a sheet music and look at it, you should know what the flats and the sharps look. It's just basic stuff. You know what I'm saying? And also, you don't realize, but that gives people confidence in you, that you actually taking time to study your craft. Don't just be satisfied with and that's what thank you. Every good boy does fine. Thank you. I knew it was one of them. I made up my own. Every good. I made up good. But that's what it is. Okay. But it's like you need, when somebody gives you a sheet music, you should be able to identify the flats and the sharps, when they show it to you. You don't have to be a genius. I'm not saying that, but your musical knowledge gives you a base, and it gives people confidence when you're talking. They can tell that you're just not, flapping wings. And I see so many people do that when they say they're directing and they just got the song and you sitting there and the first thing the musician say, well, what key you want? And you have no clue. It's like, what key is the song? You have no clue. These are just basic things you should know. I'm just trying to encourage everybody. If you are saying you're a director and you just up there moving with the song, and you know, it takes more than knowing the words. You need to know more than the words. Okay, you really do. And I think a lot of times people just stop. There is an education process to this. Never just be satisfied with just I'm standing there, you know, in front of people, because eventually I can promise you the segment, there will become a segment, a time in your life where you will be put on, as the young people say, put on blast, and you won't know a thing. You'll be sitting there going like, oh my God, what, you know, and you don't want to be embarrassed. So I'm just saying, take the time to learn. There are so many online courses. You know, I know some people, I'm a visual learner. I like to see, and that's how I learned how to play. Just watching people's hands. That's just how I learn. And there are so many online courses you can take that would just show you the basic knowledge. One of them, MusicNet, they have like the little cards if you don't know the notes. They have little cards that'll show you what the note is, and if you get it wrong, you click on the button and it tells you what it really is. Okay, take the time to learn your craft. Don't just be satisfied with that. You know, I mean, take pride in what you're doing. If you're a director, you should be able to teach parts. You know, and I'm not asking you to teach parts on Richard Smallwood. That's complex. James Hall, some of them are complex. Ricky Dillon, some of his stuff is complex. I'm not telling you on that level, but but simple songs. Okay. And when I'm saying simple, I'm talking in my mind, simple. He's a great God. He's a great God. He's a great God. You should be able to go, da, da, da. You should be able to call out the pitches and walk them through the song. Something very simple like that. You know, what's another song? I say yes to my Lord. I say yes, yes, yes. You should be able to point that out and take them through the song and sing it. I mean, just basic songs, not anything. And when you start talking Richard Smallwood with Total Praise, that one note that a lot of people have been teaching wrong for a long time, I can understand some struggles or whatever, but you should take the time to learn. I see so many people wasting time in choir rehearsal because they don't understand. And you frustrate the choir members, and you wonder why people don't want to come, why they won't show up, because nobody has time to waste. We never had time to waste, but today we definitely don't have time to waste. Okay, thanks, Mama. That's my godmommy, Mommy Joyce. Oh, well, thank you, Pastor Thurston. I'm trying. Thank you, Don. We don't have time to waste. So the more knowledgeable you are, the more time you take to study your craft, the better you'll be, and the more confidence your choir will have in you. But directing a song is nothing. And I don't mean to make that generic. It really isn't. It doesn't really take that much. They can train, honestly, they can train an orangutan to direct a song. If they can train them to push buttons in a spaceship, hey, Hatcher, they can train them to do that. Take time to learn your craft. Don't be satisfied with just the notoriety of standing in front of people, moving your arms and all that. Don't be satisfied with that. Take the time to study. Take the time to learn from somebody. Don't have a competitive spirit. Yeah, they really can. I've seen them do a lot of things, but don't have a competitive spirit. I see that so much, and it's so irritating to me. You know, they see, I get it a lot, and I've gotten to the point where I just ignore it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not in competition with you. Go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. Because at the end of the day, when I get ready to get up, the Spirit of the Lord is going to come up on me, and I'm going to do something. I don't know what it's going to be. But you know what? It's such a competitive spirit going around that if you do this, I got to go one better than you. That is not even supposed to be. What you should be doing is trying to learn from somebody else, not to overshadow them or overtake them, but just so you can expand your base, expand your knowledge. And like I tell people, I don't have a 4-mile radius thought pattern where I'm just like in this little square and that's it. No, I think globally. I'm looking at people from because music is a universal language. it's just like English, everybody pretty much know. So I spend my time, I watch everybody from Muti at the CSO to some professor in England, and I'm all over the place watching and listening to people because I want a clear understanding. And everybody teaches it different. Even when I'm around Pastor Michael Thurston, when he's playing or his daughter Michaela is playing, I'm listening for chords. If I hear anybody on the organ, I'm listening for chords. And then I'm thinking about it. When I go home, as soon as I hit the house, I'm on the keyboard trying to play out what I've heard. Learn to expand your horizon. Don't just think, well, okay, I got this down pat and whatever. I like all different kinds of music. I'm not a jazz person. I'm just not. But I love classical music. I love the Latin sound. I love the Caribbean sound. And I love the African. Oh, my God. When they sing in Yoruba, oh, my God. Or Igbo. I'm just like all ears. I'm just perked. I love that type of sound. And when you reach out beyond yourself, you'll be surprised how much you will understand and learn. And then you bring that back, and that's what develops you and gives you the depth that you need. So when you are standing there directing a song, there's a power, there's a punch behind what you're doing. You're not just up there like tingling brass. You're like, okay, when you get done, sit down. Okay? It's something about it that everybody knows this person studies. Study to show yourself approved. You want to be a studier. You want to be a reader. You want to take the time to develop what God has given you. A lot of times we think in terms of only speaking, getting up speaking in front of the crowds, but it's what you do with that little small group you have really shows what's in you. Anybody can get up there and direct somebody. I can get up and direct, Reed's Temple or Ricky Dilla's choir, and I can be, whatever. Well, yeah, because somebody already did the work. All I got to do, and then basically when you directing the song, somebody else did the work. Somebody else trained them. Somebody else taught them. Somebody else made sure that they had enunciation and pronunciation. Somebody else worked with the musicians. So all you had to do was just come in and snap and everything is done. But to take this group of people, small people, whatever they give you, and work with them and turn them and have them sounding like those people, then you're doing something. That's choir directing. Okay? That's choir directing. And I hate to be redundant with it, because people ask me all the time, what is it like? And yeah, you have your good days and you have your bad days, but it has to be something that you love. Aaron says, it's hard to learn new things without expanding your knowledge base. It is. And sometimes we get, and believe me, I love gospel. That's my primary. It feeds my soul and everything. But I find that when I go to a concert at the CSO down in the Opera Hall, in their hall, oh my God, the last time I went, each time I try to sit somewhere different, because to watch them from a different vantage point is just amazing. It is phenomenal. The last time I went, I got a chance to sit behind the orchestra, and I was looking directly in Muti's face, Ricardo Muti, and the singers, and I was right there looking over at the sheet music while they were playing, and watching. It was such an amazing thing. And it didn't overshadow my gospel. What it did was like revived it, and just like it was inspiring. And that's what we need to do. We need to get out and see other Reformations, how they sing with their choirs. I go and visit other people just to hear and see what they do. You can always learn something. You have to have a spirit of learning in this journey of life. You can't be closed-minded and say, well, I know this. I'm not like, once you cease to learn, you stagnate yourself, you cease to grow. It's just nowhere else for you to go. I don't know how else to say it. I'm trying to be sweet about it, but it's just nowhere else for you to go. Learn to expand and to learn and to grow and be around people. I strive to be around. A lot of people tell me that I'm gifted and I understand a lot of things and I'm good at what I do. I'm not denying that. To God be the glory. I'm not denying that. But I tend to at this level that I am now, I tend to be around people who are like super excel academically over me, because then it's like I have to have something to reach for, because I'm not satisfied. In a sense, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy that I'm able to help people. I'm happy that I'm able to share. But as you give out, you need to be replenished. So when I reach and be around those who are maybe academically higher than me, I don't have a degree in music. I have pieces, but they have studied and become ethnomusicologists and people on that level, and they have years in the industry. That I just grow from that. Oh my God, my mind is just like, they can say things and it means so much, and it gives me the courage to pursue further. And we all need that in our prospective fields, but especially in music, I find that we settle so quickly. It's like, okay, I can do this. And, you get everybody says, oh, you can do blah, blah. And we just stay with that. Don't be satisfied with that. Don't be satisfied with just directing a song. You're going to pass, that's going to pass you by the while. Okay. Take the time to say, if you're going to use that title, because when I go to other reformations and people, they say, oh, this is the choir director. And then when they get through reading off the sheet, everything they doing, you like, and I'm in the, National Choir Directors Association. And when I looked at the letters and everything behind everybody's name, I was kind of like, oh. And I told him, I said, do you really want me in this group? I was like, are you sure? Because I don't have all those. I have championships and I have wins and things of that sort, which they have as well. But they have all these letters. And I'm like, and they were like, no, we've seen your work. We know. No, you're coming in. You just come in, gravitate to us, and then you move up. And that's what I'm doing, learning and growing each and every day. Don't be satisfied where you are. Don't be satisfied. Keep growing and doing, because when you go around other, like I said, other reformations, and when they start talking about choir directing, I'm like, okay. And other people are with me and they're like, well, I'm gonna tell them I'm a choir director. I said, no, I don't think you better do that. Unless you kind of on that level, I don't think you better do that, because if they say, call you out and give you this hymn book and tell you to go up there, you're going to be like, can't do. Pastor Mike, what did you say? Yes, the anointing and experience has you. Oh, is that what it is? All right, Pastor. I guess that's what it is. To God be the glory. But I just want to share just a few words with you all to encourage the young people out there. Don't be satisfied with just directing a song. Yeah, that's all cool and cute. But if you get called out and told to do something further, you don't want to be embarrassed. And I don't like to see anybody embarrassed. And I've seen some young people get embarrassed. And they come whining, and I got to pat them on the back. I'm like, yeah, but I told you not to do that. I told you to sit down. And, when I told them, I said, you have to understand the crowd that you're in. Okay? And I've worked around Professor Richard Smallwood and Donald Lawrence and all of them. I had the opportunity to work around there, especially Richard Smallwood. I was like his assistant in a classroom setting. And there was no way I was going to sit up there. Some of the people like, oh, I'm going to say this to him. And I mean, it's not that I was afraid, because he talked to me. Not that I was afraid, but I was just like, what, this man, he's deep. I mean, why am I going to sit up here? This man major. I mean, why would I sit up here and try to talk to him and act like I'm up on the level with him? No way. And I guess he's seen that, and he just encouraged me. He said, well, whoever God made you to be, that's who I need you to be, because I'm going to miss out on I'm going to miss out on what God intended for me to see through you. So you need to be who you should be. And when he said that like hit me in the heart, because I'm sitting there going, well, I can't do this. And Pastor Mike, I used to always say, well, I'm not playing because I can't play like this one, and I can't. And Pastor Mike used to tell me, I said, yes, you can play. Get up there and do you. I'm no. But when he told me that hit me in the heart. I said, oh, man. And that was right before I went to How Sweet the Sound. And he told me that, and that hit me in the heart. So I'm saying to you, do what God has given you to do, and do it to the best of your ability. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't compete with anybody else, because when he made you, he broke the mold. There's nobody else like you. There's nobody else like me. So whatever gift he's given you, I don't care. Beatrice has her 4 M's where she sings songs. That's her. I'm not going to try to be like her because he didn't give it to me like that. He gave it to her. And so all of us have a gift, and let us stay in our lane and be who God made us to be and develop it to the best of your ability. You know, when you have a genuine heart and you have a humble spirit, God will place you in front of people or around people that will pour into you. And he'll open doors and they will share information. And you sitting there looking like, you know, that's God, because I don't even know you. I don't even know you. And God will just put you in favor. And people look at you and say, you know what? I'm just going to share that with you. Or I'm just going to give that to you. Or I'm going to create that opportunity for you. That's what you want. But if you're humble in spirit and you're teachable and you want to learn and you want to grow and you want to make sure that God be praised, not me. This whole academy is not about me. It's about giving praise to God, giving God the glory. Yes, ma'am. Mama Joyce, that's my God, mommy. You know, Deatrice, well, I'm thankful, Deatrice, and I'm helping you learn more. That's a blessing because that's what I want to do. It's all about helping people. So many people have asked me to do this, and I just want to give back. That's all. But I'm thankful that I'm able to do that. But make sure, if you don't remember anything else that I say, don't be satisfied at whatever level you are. If you just directing the song, don't be satisfied. Become a real, authentic choir director. Take the time to learn. Take the time to grow. Watch your company. Get around people who are moving and growing in the right direction, that are caught up in the right things and doing the right things, saying the right things, because what people say to you affects how you do. What the people, when I was growing up, and I'm going to wrap this up, but the people that I watched growing up, it was a multiplicity of people that were directors. And most of them were musicians as well. So I knew, and my mother, she was my primary, and my grandmother, and my great grandmother, they were directors as well. And they were also musicians. So I knew that eventually I got to roll over into that. But I had to learn, I had to sit at the feet. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to sit at the feet of people who have already made the way. You know, I mean, like I always tell young people, why are you reinventing the wheel when I'm not even riding on a stone? Why you got to go back and create the stone? We riding on rubber, belted rubber wheels. Why, learn to just sit down. Sit down. You'll be surprised how much you learn just sitting still. And, I said, you have nothing to prove. At the appointed time, God is taking you this way because when you get down the road at an appointed time, he needs you to stand up and be a light to this generation. And if you try to get things too fast and do the quick shake and bake thing, you're not going, you won't be ready at that time. And I'm saying that to all choir directors. Take the time to study your craft and to do. All of us may not reach the same level. All of us are not going to reach the level that Dr. Judith McAllister is at or Madam Livonia Whitney went. And we may not reach that level. But if you can impact the ones where you are, impact the ones where you are. I was at my church and I did what I could with the group that I have, not knowing that one day I would be the state minister of music. I'm just trying to direct and have fun and have a good time. That's all I'm trying to do. But because my mind is expanded, I want to learn and grow and share, then God opens up the doors for other things. And that's what he wants to do for all of us. So take the time to surround yourself with innovative people who have vision. Without a vision, people perish. I ain't trying to go to the Bible. I'm just trying to keep it here, right? I'm just trying to keep it simple. But without a vision, be around visionaries. Be around, they always, and that was proven to me in school. I used to just hang around, hang around willy-nilly with anybody. And my teacher was like, look, girl, if you want to be successful, you need to get around the successful people. Be around brainiacs because you're not going anywhere just running around doing everything. So then I changed my mindset and I started hanging around with the brainiacs. And you know what? That spirit that they had, that mindset that they had grew on me and I became a brainiac, just like them, doing the same thing that they were doing. So surround your people who are visionary. Get around people who are studiers, who grow, who develop themselves, who are looking for ways to improve themselves, get around people like that. And you will be surprised that same thought process, that same spirit will get on you, and you will see yourself doing things that you never thought that you would do, that you weren't capable of doing, but you're doing them because you changed your thought process, you changed your environment, and you changed your company. And God said, okay, since you did all of that, now I can use you to bring glory to me. Okay? I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, Mama Geraldine. Thank you, Deatrice. Thank you, Pastor Mike. Thank you, everybody. Shanita, my cousin. Thank you all for tuning in. That's all I got. I just, because I did this video maybe 3 weeks ago, and then I did it at the beginning. So that person, I know they're on here. So I hope that helped your question. So those who are giving you a little trouble, show them the video. Maybe that'll help you out since they listen to me, right? Since they listen to me. But thank you all for tuning in. I thank you all for hanging out with me on tonight. And I will be here next week because I had a request for Thanksgiving songs for the choir. By now, you should have already rehearsed, but I had some to review. I'm going to review. I got a catalog of them to review. Thank you all for giving me songs. I'm going to review them and go over them next week. And then on the next week, November 28th, we got a special guest who's going to teach our master's class. I have the International Youth Department Choir Master Director himself, Minister Michael Hunt from the IYC. They just dropped a CD. It's beautiful. I love it. He is going to be the guest speaker for our master's class on November 28th. So you don't want to miss that. Hey, I got a guest lined up for you every month. Yes, I do. And I'm bringing in a music producer to kind of help give you insight on what you need to do in order to produce a CD with your choir. Yes. So I got them all lined up from now on to next year. I got somebody coming in that's willing to share their information that they have learned that maybe I may not be able to reach you, but maybe they will. It's a great thing, and we all going to learn together. We're going to keep this going. I got some things coming up next year along with the state choir, right? So they want me to, I'm kind of working these things together, so bear with me. So if I take a day off, know the sister just wore out, right? But I'm coming right back. I'm not going to leave. Everybody seems to enjoy this, and I enjoy sharing, and I'm trying not to get in a serious teaching mode, but it keeps coming up out of me. I don't know. I guess it's just innate. That's what God wants me to do. I appreciate everybody. I do. Everyone that came out, Pastor Mike, my cousin Shanita, my godmommy Joyce, Deatrice, Aaron is on here. Oh my goodness, who else? Oh my God, there's so many people on here. I don't want to touch the screen because I don't want to make a mistake and hit something else. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in on tonight. I want you to have a lovely evening, get some rest, have a glorious weekend, enjoy yourself, get some rest. It's kind of cold up here, so we got to wrap up. I didn't get a chance to take this stuff off. But anyway, have a good night. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate the encouragement. Hang with me because we're going places with the Choir Directors Academy, y'all. God bless everybody. Peace.